This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I promise you, this is not a political podcast.
Jump from the deep end of the pool, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. 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 Set up the mood.
I should have had something prepared. You know what's awesome? You're always prepared. That's the best part.
Not really, dude.
Testicles 1, 2. Testicles. Welcome back to Paranoid Radio Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am Trebles Garcia, and it is June the 8th, and I started drinking again. I fucked up. It is what it is, guys. It's not like I'm drinking and I'm belligerent drunk. If I'm slurring, I'm sorry. I had some whiskey. I talked to people about it. They told me that I fucked up. And on top of that, I have a bunch of freaking Mexicans knocking all over the door because they're getting their families deported. It is what it is, man. It's a heavy, heavy, heavy world we live in. I was just having a conversation with Brad from the Awaken podcast right now. He was telling me, like, bro, he understands. Anyway, the first thing I want to say is I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today. And I want to thank the Lord. I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. I want to remind you that the most important thing that you could do for the show is word of mouth. Check us out at paranoidradio.com. And also, guys, it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month before it even was Pride Month. And I need you guys to understand that if you guys have been contemplating or entertaining the idea of suicide, you need to put your burden on somebody else. You need to speak. You need to belong. Make sure you check us out. You guys don't need to listen, donate. You guys don't need to subscribe or nothing. Just go to paranoidradio.com. And the first thing that you see is a 24/7 lifeline button where you could chat, speak, or text with somebody live 24/7. And if you don't want to talk to anybody that's not irrelevant to your life, you could also hit me up directly. My number is associated with the Instagram account, and that's personal. Guys, make sure you check us out and live 10 more days. We need no more women, fathers, sisters, daughters, or any type of people crying and weeping because you offed yourself. It only takes 10 more seconds of life. Also, check out Cryptid Warfare Operations. They give you the tools, and they will help you take care of those critters outside of your house eating your chickens. And live parasitic free with Ali Christine. Ali Christine is a beautiful soul that she'll make sure that your kids stay healthy and make kids healthy again with a special antidotes for parasites. So make sure you check her out, and then season your meat before you eat with Flavors of the Forest. Flavors of the Forest, man. Jason, Matt, shout outs to Jason and Matt. Those guys are freaking beautiful. They're always sending me videos of them hunting and shooting everything. They shoot everything. Everything, bro. They're amazing people. I freaking love them. Guns, barbecue, meat, Bigfoot, and garlic. What more beautiful combination than that, man? It sounds like an American, pure-blooded American. Make sure you check them out. Flavors of the Forest. Guys, let's jump in from the deep end of the pool and set the freaking mood. Please give a warm welcome to my third coming guest. He's been here before. He's blown it up before. And today was kind of like a last call, but you know what? These are the best episodes because I enjoy them the best. Please give a warm welcome to Brad from the Awakened podcast. What's up, Brad?
Yay. What's up, dude? How you doing? I appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you for having me back again. This is awesome, man. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to having you on my show sometime soon too, because I got an audience that would love you, man. Your energy is great, your attitude is great, and you got a great story to tell as well. So anytime you want to come on, man, you know you got an open door to come on my show as well. So
you are intimidating. I have to admit, I don't mind being on other people's shows, but the way you structure your show was so pristine and the deep dives have to be to a point. I'm kind of like, oh crap. I don't want to run out of things to say in the first 15 to 20 minutes. Not only because I speak fast, but because my deep dives are not so deep. And the ones that I do deep dive on are not like I want to say as informational as yours. You have a lot of information in your head, you drop a lot of content, and you have a lot of wisdom. So I apologize if I wasn't able to bring that forth to your show, but I will one day, and I'll tell you what's up. And we're gonna dive deep a little bit today. We're gonna like skim the surface of it, and we're gonna talk about underground caverns, caves, and military complexes underground, right? Which is something important. Just recently, I found out that some of the most richest people in the world have been buying bunkers underground, and in particular areas of the world, and not only particular areas of the world of their choosing, but particular areas of the world that ancients also chose. So it's very important that we bring that in. Before anything, where can people find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me at theawakenpodcast.com. That's where all my links are. That's where, you can find more, you'll find a little bit extra content. Like I just released an episode called Ancient America with Rye Voss from Codex of Curiosities. And there were some articles, for example, that were associated with that episode that I have on my website. So not everything is on Spotify, not everything is on YouTube or Rumble or anything like that. Not everything's on Apple. Some of that stuff is on my website, and there's actually some pretty good information there. I put some of this stuff in on my website because it's really hard to find. Like, for example, the photos of Roswell and the photos of you and I talked about it last time, the Battle of LA. All that stuff, the archive photos are pictured or at least linked on my website. So dig through some of those episodes and read the content or the description for each show, and you'll find a little bit more Easter eggs in there, such as like old newspaper articles and things like that. So, but yeah, man, thank you for having me on at the Awaken Podcast. You can find everything you need to find there.
Good stuff, yo. And where I failed, you succeed. Talk to me, bro. What do you know about these caves, man?
Well, first of all,
yeah,
you mentioned June. I gotta at least mention this. You mentioned that it was June, Men's Health Awareness. I did a episode with a group of guys, a group of veterans, who made a documentary called Tribal, and they talk about having, and it's true, man. In the military, we lose way more friends coming home to PTSD, drug overdoses, and things like that. And they made a whole documentary about it, and it'll make you cry your butt off when you watch it. Because a friend of mine named Wade, everybody talks about the situations they were in, losing friends, getting shot, getting their eye blown off, that kind of stuff, man. So all of those guys are my buddies. One of those guys that put the documentary together served with my older brother when he was in, so that's how we got connected. And amazing guys, great documentary. You can find everywhere except for Netflix. It's called Tribal. And then it's just a military documentary about PTSD and veteran suicide awareness. So that's a pretty important message I would like to get out there as well. Because I actually have a little page on my website where I talk about, veteran suicide and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely go check that video out. You guys aren't alone, man. This isn't, we're it feels like we're alone all the time because as men we don't get a lot of love, we don't get a lot of affection and things like that. We're always doing what we have to do, and nobody's ever telling us that they're proud of us. Nobody's ever really, it just sucks. The only person who's really telling you that is your mom, if you're fortunate enough to have your mom, or your grandma or somebody like that. And it means a lot coming from them, but it would be nice to hear it every now and then from your kids, from your wife, even from your boss, or from your, whoever you look up to, whoever you admire. So just know that you guys aren't alone with any of this stuff. I'm sorry you lapsed on that. It's fine, man. Just that's what we do. We just keep moving on. We figure out a way to get past it, and we move on.
Bro,
rub some dirt on it, and let's go.
To be honest with you, bro, I enjoyed it, man. 6 months, 7 months 8 months of no drinking, bro. I freaking enjoyed it. It was like on the rocks. It was good. I'm not promoting you guys to go drinking,
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it, man. I was like, hey, man, the kids ain't home, the wife ain't home. I'm gonna have a little sip. Good. Got back to work. So. Yeah, man. Thank you for sharing all that information, bro. And it's called Tribal on Netflix, guys. Make sure you check that out. And I'm gonna go actually check that out as soon as I finish this episode. And
no, it's not. It's not on Netflix. It's on Amazon Prime and all the other platforms, but and I believe Apple as well. But it's not on Netflix. So yeah. But thank you for doing that. Thank you for letting me plug that. I appreciate that.
Hell yeah, man. Absolutely. Make sure you send me the link to that, please. I'm gonna put that on the description of the show, and then maybe I'm gonna share that also on the website. That'd be great to have
Of
that out there for
course.
people. Yeah.
Um, yeah, man, but we were talking about doing like an underground bases and underground facilities episode, and that's something that I really have been wanting to do for a while now because, it's for many years now I've started noticing. You mentioned some of these tech billionaires creating bunkers. I mean, it's been going on for at least 5 years that I know of since the pandemic, but before that, I started noticing it a little bit as well. A lot of these CEOs just all of a sudden quit their jobs and they bought yachts and they went out and started living on the water. I mean, Elon Musk famously did that, right, for a little while. A
Mhm.
lot of these
Mhm.
people, like Peter Thiel, they went and bought up land in or tried to buy up land. There was a big fight with the government of New Zealand. They were trying to buy up land in this mountain, one of the highest mountains in the world, and it's about 2,000 feet above sea level. And
Mhm.
so a lot of people think that if a cataclysm happens again, like a flood, that it's going to flood the world, the earth, for about 2,000 feet. So a lot of times these people are trying to build on top of these mountain caps and stuff like that, and they're trying to build places where they think that it's not going to flood, maybe, or maybe there's less people. Like they're building in Alaska, they're building in, and they're putting out stuff like there's a place called Svalbard, which is
Mhm.
in the Arctic. And what that is basically like a seed reservoir where they keep all these food seeds and all this other stuff. And then there's one in the Antarctic as well. I believe they call it the Ark, and it's basically like a bunch of vials of blood that they just kind of store there in case what I think is going on is they're storing it for some sort of a cataclysm to sort of repopulate the world. Again, they got all these different seeds from these different plants and trees and all this other stuff in the one in the Arctic. And then the Antarctic, they have, like I said, I believe it's called the Ark. I could be wrong, but it's this giant structure that's built into the mountain. And so, man, I've been studying this stuff. I've been paying attention to it for a long time, and it just seems like everybody's sort of going in a direction of something is going on. Like somebody knows something. I remember reading an article one
Mhm.
time about it was about Sun Valley, Idaho, or somewhere like that. I believe. For those who don't know, Sun Valley, Idaho is like the tech world meeting place. So what happens is at the Bilderberg group, they get together and the world leaders and they decide what the policy is going to be for the next 5 years. And then they go break, all right, and then they separate and they go their different ways. And then so annually they'll have a media meeting. And at this media meeting in Sun Valley, Idaho, that's where like mergers happen with like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all these things. This is where a lot of big deals get made. And what they talk about there, I think, because I've never been, is that they're talking about like how do we take the message from Bilderberg and how do we put it in the media? Like how do we do movies and how do we do it in social media and stuff like that? And it's
Mhm.
usually like a 5 year thing. So if you look back at like the Bilderberg Group website, you can see the list of attendees, and typically they'll give you topics about what they talk about, but they won't tell you anything else other than that. They'll just be like, "Oh, we talked about AI or something like that."
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know, when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself, talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
And if you look back 5 years from now, you're going to see that those topics were probably all the stuff that we're seeing now. Like I said, AI. You're going to see stuff like probably stuff about bunkers, and you're probably going to see stuff about war in Ukraine. And that was 5 years ago. Remember, Ukraine war started only 2 or 3 years ago. So you're going to see it's like they got together and they determined let's create these wars and all this stuff. And it's like they plan out the world at these meetings, and then they go to Sun Valley, Idaho, and they do this big meeting there, basically, and what movies to make, and that's why you're seeing a lot of end of the world type of movies, right? Like
Yes, you're
Cataclysm,
taking it right where I wanted to go.
right?
Yeah.
They're taking cataclysmic type movies. You're seeing movies like Elysium and all these, The Last of Us, all these, Walking Dead. I mean, those shows are older now, but you're starting to see a lot more of that stuff now. You can do a Google search for like 2026 movies coming out, and all of them are like end of the world type stuff. And so again, I
Have
just think
you
that I'm
have you
sorry.
seen Greenland?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, with Butler. What's his name? The guy from 300.
Oh, Gerard
Forgot
Butler.
his name. Oh yeah, movie that tells you exactly how things will happen. So there's a giant cataclysm. They're looking at this freaking cosmic entities that are coming down, and it's a set of meteors that are about to strike the Earth, and one of them's a football field, and that's all you need to destroy the rest of the world, right? And then it swings in. And guys, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying. I need you guys to go check that movie out because I was gonna do a documentary on that movie because there's things that I saw movie plane. I mean, plane numbers. I've seen bunch of 33s, 17s, a bunch of different numbers that meet up to like Illuminati stuff, all that stuff. But the message of the movie is that in Greenland, there's a giant military base where they don't only store all the seeds, but they also want to take people selectively that have been included into the political sphere. What I mean, like in the service, cops that have more of a cleaner genetic code, which means some other people that haven't suffered from cancers or ulcers or cysts or hepatitis or what's it called, diabetes. So this Butler's son ends up having some type of breathing mechanism problem that he has with his body, and they reject his kid. But he was selected. His father, right, Butler, was selected. His family was selected to be taken to Greenland and extracted out of the U.S. while this whole thing was happening. So, what do you think about that? Do you think that they have already pre-cursed? Like, since we're talking about pre-cursing stuff and pre-telling what's happening, do you think they already have a selective few that will be called upon to say, hey, get on the plane, get the hell out, only you and your family, don't bring anybody else, don't bring belongings?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've been doing that for a long time. This genetic sort of filtering, or what is it? What is it called when they're eugenics, right? That's the name for it. So I think that they've been doing that for a while, man. But yeah, they put it in shows like that, like you're talking about. I've never seen it, but I mean, that's pretty much all that's in our face now. You think back to about 2008, there was all zombies and aliens and all this other stuff.
Oh yeah.
Again, they're like they're playing like a leapfrog chess game almost. So whatever they're talking about, whatever they plan out 5 years, then it's going to happen 5 years, and then, or I'm sorry, then you'll start seeing more of it coming into the media in 5 years, and then about 5 years after that, you're going to see more of it coming to fruition. So I don't know what's going on. There was this thing called the Deagle Report that was supposed to, in 2025, civilization was going to be cut down dramatically somehow. And I don't believe that that's I mean, here we are, June, knock on wood, hopefully nothing happens, right? But it's like, they keep moving the goalpost on these cataclysms as well. So what I think is happening sometimes is with these movies, with these TV shows, like there's a show called Paradise on Hulu right now. My wife watches it, right? It's about this fictional underground city that's beneath a mountain in Colorado. And it's like a climate controlled bunker, and it's supposed to withstand like a global catastrophe. And they have, a president, and they have artificial sunlight, and they have like sky projections and all this other stuff, fake waterways. And there are shows like that. But what I think is happening, I think that they put it in the airwaves because they want us to manifest it into reality. I don't think it's really going to happen because I think that we have to consent to the information. That's how it works for these occultists that run the world. They have to put this stuff in the media, and then we have to believe it. We have to buy into it. That was what happened in 2020. I believe wholeheartedly that our minds were tricked into thinking that we lost our smell. We were tricked into thinking we lost our taste buds, and because what happened? nonstop. It was in the news, right? I mean, there was a death toll counter on the news and stuff like that, and all these things. It was everywhere you went. It was the grocery store. So eventually, we started manifesting that into a reality. But then,
Really fast.
right. And so I think that people were losing their senses and stuff like that because of that, because it's all a mental thing. They had us all believing that something was going on, and we manifested it into a reality. But then at some point, I don't remember what broke it. I thank God for guys like Joe Rogan, man, who has like this 11 million people that he broadcasts to at least per episode, right? And there's probably way more than that they're not telling us about, that listen to the show and watch the show and stuff like that. But if you think about it, man, when he talks, he has this way, or he has this influence with 11 million people. That's a big enough sample size to help penetrate the collective consciousness, right? To help sort of pierce that veil and
Switch the vibration on people. Yeah.
yes, yeah, and sort of like change change our mindset in a way that shifts us to a different, like you said, vibration, man. And I think that thank God for him, man, because I really do believe that having those conversations on his show really changed the way people think. And I also believe that it was filtering through. Like some people were believing it, and then others weren't, and it was really hard for them to, I think, manifest any further, because at some point I was at the beach June 2021 or June 2020, and it was in Myrtle Beach, and it was hundreds of thousands of people there. Now nobody died from anything, and then so you see stuff like that, and you're like, this ain't, something's going on here. So again, it helped shifted our reality to a different timeline almost, or a different vibration, like you and I talked about last time, where we kind of we shift over from, if you think about it like a record player, we kind of shift the needle over a little bit, and it's playing a different track. Something along those lines. But yeah, I think that they have to get us to manifest stuff, and it didn't work. And so what did they do since then? They tried to backtrack it. They were like, we didn't say this and we didn't say that. That was just nonsense. And then they delete the records from, dude, I mean, there was, I remember the dancing Israeli stuff happening during 9/11. I remember Muslims celebrating after 9/11. I remember my brother was in the military, and I remember they had to go to a mall because they were like, these a group of Muslim people that were celebrating when 9/11 happened. They caught them on camera and stuff like that. There was a ton of that stuff going on. Trump mentioned it not too long ago, in his first campaign. He was talking about those things. He said, I remember that happening too. A lot of people who are like, I'm 42, a lot of people who are my age kind of remember that stuff happening. But then you go to try to find it online somewhere, and you're not going to find any clips. You might get lucky and find it somewhere deep down in the web somewhere, but they bury it, man. And because it's just a manipulation of our energy. I don't think that there's really any kind of cataclysms that are coming. I think that they're trying to get us to bring that into a reality, because I think that they're working with demons, and I think these demons want us dead because we're made in God's image. They want to defile our bloodlines. They want to defile us. I mean, that's why we got porn. That's why we got alcohol. You know what I mean?
Defile the bloodlines. It's interesting you said that.
Yeah, all of that stuff, man.
I did a deep dive episode with Broadcasting Seeds. Shout outs to Bennett. And
Bennett's friends, by the way,
I just got a message from my deep state correspondent. He says that the Marines are coming to LA. And that is all the way from New York, guys. You guys are hearing that first. So the things that are happening in LA are not fun. Sorry for interrupting. That's good. Nice. I think I'm gonna have to drop this episode tonight. Oh, snap. Just overcommitted. Anyway, the point I wanted to bring that out, I did an episode on Broadcasting Seeds where I broke down some of the research I did on the Olmecs, and how the Olmecs were not only using liquid obsidian, gold, and mercury to make sure that they were tapping into using also biometrics, which is bloodshed, to tap into the Earth's frequency to make sure that they were tapped into organic algorithms. And when I mean organic algorithms, they were using sonic frequency. They were using the priests knew about the vibrations of the Earth, so they were trying to tap into the Earth not the other way around. The pyramids weren't not there to mimic gods. They were trying to mimic the frequency of the earth. It was actually from within. So they were trying to go inside, and they were able to tap into it and upload themselves into this algorithm and using cave systems. Now sound travels better, travels a lot better through water than through oxygen. So they have a complex system of caves.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
In the Yucatan Peninsula, and we've seen some of that in some of the movies that called Black Panther 2. And they use those cave systems to travel and talk to other entities underwater. And what really touched me was that they were not trying to only do that, but they were also trying to avoid judgment. And then by you putting all that information into stone frequency and the pulsating frequencies of the earth, they were able to tap into that. And then now we are tapping into that by pulling out the information using our technology. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that they used their magic, their tainting of our genetic genome, right, to put themselves into the algorithm of the earth and then manipulate us back from technology. Kind of like how we're saying now that like this kind of like joins up together, kind of like what we're saying with AI. You're not inventing AI, you're just unwrapping it because it's been there always, right? It's always been a vessel for something else beyond our imagination, our dimension. And what's the most important thing that we have? Every emperor, king, and god, and everything that what are they obsessed with? Living forever. Through how? Through frequency. Through mentioning their names. Through erecting statues. Through being able to be never forgotten in that frequency, which means it's another dimension. You see what I'm saying, right? So what are they trying to do with us? They're trying to chip us up so that we live in a metaverse forever. It's a digital universe. It's a place that you can visit and also a place that you can live forever. See, you see what I'm saying, right? So back to the cave systems. These cave systems are not only have not only been harvested for magic, for frequencies, for entities, for underwater cities, but for military bases. Bam.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right about the statues. You're right about all that because what happens is, there was a movie called Coco, right? Where he's like, remember me. That was the song he sang in the movie. It was like, that's what they're trying to do, man. It's like they want you to constantly have that in your mind. What did they say about 9/11? Never forget, right? Over and over, never forget. They say that. And that's what happens, man. That's the brainwashing of things. You can do it to anybody. You can brainwash anybody by saying something over and over enough until it becomes the truth, until it becomes a vibration or an egregore that becomes the truth, right? And it's like, that's what these people are doing, man. They're erecting statues of themselves and they're worshiping these statues as well. They're still making blood sacrifices to Moloch and all these other pieces of crap gods and stuff like that or these deities that they call God. And so, yeah, man, it's just they have this whole system set up, and I think that they've been working with entities. I think the blood is important for whoever they're worshiping, and whoever they're worshiping is,
Think about it, right? They use biometric systems, biometric bloodshed to open up the frequency of the earth. Who else also used biometric bloodshed to travel us and make sure that we were saved? Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, Jesus, yeah.
You see what I'm saying, right? It's like, oh, what? Huh. So these guys were tapped into some type of magical science knowledge. You see, it's I don't know how to say this. I probably think people think that I'm freaking crazy, but I'm thinking these motherfuckers were tapped into so hard into the earth before Jesus, if anything, that they try to manipulate. And then also they were talking to entities and demonic entities that were guiding them because that wasn't only just duality was introduced to humanity, and then we perversed it by with the help of all these bloodlines, tainting the bloodlines.
Well, dude, they got all these underground bases that they work that again, they worship these fallen angels. These the 33% that fell at Mount Hermon on the 33rd parallel. That's why you get the number 33 all over the place all the time. And there are people who worship these entities. And so anytime they do something, it's going to be in the name of 33 or in the number it has going to have something to do with the number 33. Like all these wars in the Middle East, all of them. Baghdad, Iraq, 33rd parallel. Kabul, Afghanistan, 33rd parallel. The war in Israel with Gaza, 33rd parallel. It's Damascus, Syria, 33rd parallel. The bombs at Nagasaki and Hiroshima, 33rd parallel. Over and over and over. It's like they're having to, it's like some sort of homage, if you will, to the 33rd, to the fallen angels, right? And so, or at least that's what I think. And so everything they do has to be in the number 33. And we talked about the beginning of the pandemic in 2020. It started on 3/11. It started on March 11th, right? I mean, Sean Hibbler has a great documentary about this called Fluvid-19. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend you see it. But at the beginning of it, he talks about that. And I remember seeing all that before he even said it. Yeah, I mean, so I'm glad he put it out into the ether so everybody could remember that it happened. But I went a lot deeper on it because I do marketing and web design for a living. And I remember every day getting a notification or seeing the news or something that said 33 new confirmed cases in South Carolina, 33 confirmed cases in Texas, 33. It was always like 33,000 deaths and 330,000 injections and over and over and over. It was that number. It was everywhere, dude. Excuse me, I keep burping, but it was everywhere. I mean, everywhere you went, that number 33 was there. And again, I think they build these underground bases because these things are demons, they're fallen angels, they're disembodied entities, they're spirits. And when God's light is out, when the sun is out, they get dispersed back into the ether. That's why when you say the name of Christ, it's the embodiment of light and love, and it's a vibration, it's a frequency. They get dispersed back into the ether. So what happens is they have to build these underground submergible bases where the USOs hang out in the ocean, and they have to build these underground bases in Canada. They have like the Nahanni Valley. I mean, they're everywhere, dude. I mean, it's not just the United States. I mean, there's places there's Staffordshire, England. There's Dulce, New Mexico. Everywhere there's all these stories of these drilling underneath and people feeling vibrations and stuff like that. And I think that they have underground bases for these things because they're working with them. And these things are down there. These demons, these disembodied entities are down there, and they're giving them information in the form of technology and medicines and science discoveries and all this other stuff. And that I mean, look at CERN. CERN's underground as well, right? All these things are happening underground or underneath the ocean. And so I think it's kind of hard to ignore. I mean, I have a whole document here that is so big that I can scroll for like an hour about all these places. And I just named some of them. There's Mount Shasta, California. There's Brown Mountain Entrance. It's a Canadian, alleged Canadian UFO base. You and I talked about some of them before with the Catalina Islands bases. There's the Newfoundland Iron Mine entrance. They got one in Brazil. And you can sit there and there's a whole document that somebody put together on this, and it's super interesting, man. I don't even know where I found it at. It's one of those deep dives on the internet one night, sitting up, looking around, and I just found this, and it was just fascinating because it doesn't just talk about like, oh, here's the place and here's the stories and all this stuff. It goes deep. Oh, at layer 1, it was this. At layer 2, it was that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was like levels of the different underground bases. So I think that they've been building underground bases and bunkers for a long time now. I think that these things do live underground. I think a lot of them live when they come into our reality. Like I said, if they don't hurry up and find somewhere to hide, when God's light comes out, when the sun comes back out, that's why they come out at night. When the sun comes back out, they're going to get dispersed back into the ether. So when they come in, that's their mission. It seems like they're trying to find a way to stay in. So what do? They create these metal casings around themselves. They're spirit balls. There's like they're orbs, right? They're plasmoids.
Bunkers.
And they create all these places that they can go, right? So that's why, in my opinion, that's why they all this stuff is going on. And God, I mean, who knows?
Stone casings, stone pyramids, step pyramids, things to harbor themselves, to keep those genetic spliced entities inside and never outside, always hiding from the sun. He just connected more dots for me.
Well, I think here's the thing with the stone structures, and I've talked about this before. So what happens is when energy comes from the sun, it hits the earth, it creates electromagnetic pulse. That pulse creates a telluric current, which is like a earth energy that kind of spins up, and it comes out of these volcanoes and crevices and cracks and waterways, and that's why a lot of stuff happens around streams and rivers and things like that, because that's where a lot of these telluric currents come out. And when those telluric currents come out, which are electric energy, and every electric field has a magnetic field, so it comes out and it's creating these little vortices of energy, and they're kind of like flying out. This energy is kind of all over the place, right? I think that these entities tricked humans a long time ago to form these stone circles and these stone structures to trap that energy into one little vortex of energy that they can come into, because that's how they're coming into this reality. They start off as plasma or ether, and when the sun goes down, they quickly form into what's called a complex plasma. And that complex plasma, when it interacts with a magnetic field, they turn into what looks like a toroid, like a little donut shape. But when there was a guy named Winston Bostick in the 50s who did a study on this, and he started shooting this plasma into a magnetic field, and he noticed that they were forming together. And when they were forming together, it was forming these little spirals. And then there were these little light balls that were forming through spirals, and they were flying through stuff. They were transmedium and all this. And he was like, what is this? So he kept doing more experiments, and it turned out that two or more plasmoids, when they're shot at each other, or two or more plasmas, when they shot at each other, they create this like ball of lightning, this little ball lightning or orbs. That's what they are. And so these orbs, when they come into our reality at night, again, their job is to try to like shift. They pull from metals and stuff like that from the atmosphere, and they quickly form like a casing around themselves, or they pull from like the petrified ions from deceased animals. So like that's why they stink. That's why they like Bigfoot and all this stuff. They're just pulling these ions to shift into whatever they can. So these stone structures, in my opinion, like stone circles, like Avebury and Stonehenge and all this stuff, they were put there by humans because they were tricked by these things into thinking that they were like family members. That would be like they come to you one night and they go, "Oh, we know you drank a beer tonight or whatever, you know." And you're like,
you drank some whiskey, Angel.
Yeah.
You done fucked up.
Yeah, this is your grandma. You know better than that, and all this stuff. And you go, "Oh, you're right, grandma. I'm sorry." And then next thing you know, you're building a stone circle in your yard, and they got another portal that he can come into. And I think that that's what's happening. And I think that there are good people in the government. Unfortunately, I do think that. I don't think they're all bad. I do think that majority of them are working for, or like occultists. But I do think that they're good people, because the reason I say that is because when these things come into our existence, right over my house, there was a UFO that a guy filmed, and the guy who was filming it said he would see them every single night come to our dirt road where we lived at, these UFOs, and they would look like they were doing something. So he watched them every night with night vision goggles and recorded them and stuff. And he told my dad this before my dad died. And
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
He said that every night military jets would come in and chase him off. So like, so somebody knows something, right? Like there's really something going on. And every night here in the town I live in South Carolina, it's called Florence, South Carolina. There's like, Osprey helicopters, Marine Osprey helicopters, and like all this stuff. We don't have a military base here, and they're just flying around all night. One time it was like 3 hours, just flying over the top of my house, like back and forth, not hovering over my house, but like just making these like circles around town for some reason. And I think that that's what happens, man. I think that they have a whole unit that probably battles these things at night. So. But yeah, man, I mean, I think these stone structures do have a way of channeling this energy into one spot, what's called an X point, which is like it's where basically these plasma type energies converge and they create these little, like I just mentioned with the electric field where these things, these telluric currents come out of the earth, they have they're electromagnetic, they have a magnetic field. Well, when that interacts with the magnetic field of Earth, it creates a geodynamo feedback loop, which creates that vortex. So imagine if like two magnets try to come together and it's just coming like that. And then what happens is there's a little bit of separation because electromagnetic energy, when you look at it, how it flows right up to each other. It never touches, but it flows right up to each other and it perfectly divides, right? It's like, that's how it flows. When this
wave
happens,
function,
right?
Like in wave function.
Yes, but when this happens, it kind of creates this little gap, this little separation in the electromagnetic field, and I think the electromagnetic field is kind of like the zipper of reality, right? Kind of like the firmament or whatever you want to call it. So I know I kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent
I went so deep into that. And I was thinking, and I told this to Tamara, I haven't put that episode out. I keep remembering, dude, there's so many episodes where I thought that this was reverse engineered, and they haven't tried. Every single time that they turn on the freaking CERN, the machine, they're not trying to look forward to the future and then alter and then change our timeline. I think that they're trying to go backward and hack the firmament in creation. So instead of going forward, they're going backwards because it's already happened. And they're trying to hack the firmament so that we can crack through that glass ceiling. And we've heard that mentioned before. Hillary Clinton said it not only once, but she said it plenty of times on some of her interviews and debates. So right now that you mentioned the firmament, it kind of brought back to my attention. It's also foretold. Everything's about hiding underground, being in a bunker, earthquakes, survivability, only the elite can live. And they've told us this. I remember in 2008, bro, and this is just what was it? Predictive programming. In 2008, and I've said this many times on the show, I was so into Resident Evil, 1000 Corpses, 28 Days Later. I was so into the vampires, so much into the zombie movies that I thought that in 2012 I was gonna fend off some people. When I came out of jail, bro, I was ready to go to fight these people out, to these animals, these entities. And we were like, okay, we had a plan. My brothers and I had a plan on how we were gonna collect food and protect my parents and then survive off our home for a while, for at least 3 to 2 months. So it was like, what the heck, So we were programmed for this stuff, but the reality of it was that we were not only being desensitized, and also we were pouring our information and our creative juices and all our energy into making that happen. We were also feeding them, and we were also being programmed, and they were telling us their truth. It happens with everything. It happens with music. It happened. Look at the evolution of music. I come from an era when people were talking about how to be a pimp, slap a bitch, and sell drugs. Now being you have to be a bitch and do drugs and get slapped like a bitch. You see, it's like the opposite now. So you see the evolution in movies, you see the evolution in entertainment, and with many other elites. So yeah, man, I agree with you with everything you're saying. The donut shape, that's something that's been popping off too. That what's up with that, bro? The donut shape stuff. That's I even have there's a podcaster. He's a good friend of mine. What's his name? Donut. Um, and he calls himself Donut, and he is a Illuminati.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Exposure. He's that's what he does. He researches the Illuminati. But what's up with that, bro? What is up with that shape?
Yeah, shout out
These
to
people,
Donut.
some of the
Shout out
flat
to
earthers
Donut,
are
man. I
even
love Donut.
saying, some of the flat earthers are saying that the shape of the earth is the shape of a donut. I know it's
Yeah,
insane. I know it's retarded, but damn.
no, it's not, man. What happens is I think we're living at what's called the axis of symmetry, which is the middle point, it's the middle line of a toroid. And then we have this electromagnetic field around us. So I think that the earth is flat in the regards that we're living at that axis of symmetry, and then there's like almost like a half of a donut. We're like the spread that goes in the middle of the bagel, right? It's like that's where we are. And there's a lot of people who I just had Lindsay Sharman on my show, and we were talking about it was an episode called Sowing Seeds, and she talked about having this astral projection type of experience where she was taken to the center of the universe, and that's exactly what she saw. And so I think that everything in this world is that. Matter of fact, I think that everything exists as this fractal universe, as this fractal atom, as this fractal toroidal shape. Every atom of our body looks like that. Every like our hearts look like that. We're bioelectric beings. We have this field around us that looks like that, and so on and so on. The universe looks like that, or the solar system looks like that. If you think about it, that's what that is. It's like it looks like a big atom, right? It looks like and that's what when you you keep zooming out and zooming out and zooming out, you'll probably find us in the brain of some other person somewhere. So I think there's infinite worlds up, and at the base, I mean, at the center of all that is a toroid. At the center of that light is God's light, and then the energy just flows from that, and then we're on this spiral up and down that thing. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Even we're donuts. If you think about it physically, we got a fucking hole in the front and a hole in the back. We're fucking donuts, man. That's all it is.
that's true, dude. That's very true, man.
Dude, we went all over the place, but I like to keep these tight and fun. And this is the third time you're here on the show, bro. And again, I apologize I wasn't able to do a deep dive for your episode, and you deserve everything, all the homage and all the attention. So with that, I want people to find out where you're from, what do you do, where can they find you, what's popping?
Yeah, you can find me again at The Awakened. Sorry, I didn't mean to come in loud like that, but you can find me at theawakenedpodcast.com. I talk about all this kind of stuff, hidden history and energy and frequency and manipulation of our energy and paranormal and supernatural and spiritual and basically all the fun topics. But I try to go a little bit deeper on some of this stuff than some people do because
Word.
I feel like there's a lot of people just kind of scratching the surface on some of the stuff, almost like a limited hangout in a way where they just want to talk about a little bit and then they move on to the next thing. But I think people want answers. I think people are tired of kind of skipping over to, we hear a little bit about it and you want more. I remember I used to listen to a lot of talk radio before I started doing this. And for like 12 years, I listened to this one talk show, and I was always kind of like hanging on every morning. I was like, please talk about like aliens and stuff. And then he
Yeah.
would occasionally, and then it would be
Mm.
like a 5 minute segment. And I'm like, come on, man, there's got to be more to it. And so I actually found Sam Tripoli that way on Rogan's show because I couldn't find a lot of people who were like talking about in the way that I talk about it. And then when I
Word.
saw Tripoli on Rogan a few years ago, I was like, this guy kind of he knows what's up. I think he has a interesting way of kind of looking at things and delivering things, and he kind of likes to like put stuff out there and not go too deep a lot of times. But it made me go, oh, this is a whole community of people that think like me, and so I've been on that path ever since. And that's actually where I met Donut. That's how I got on Tinfoil Hat and stuff like that. I've met all these great people because it's a lonely world, man. There's not a lot of us thinking like this and talking like this. There's not a lot of people who are awake. And so I'm trying to bring on people like you and Donut. I think Donut and Thomas from Paranoid American, they're going to be coming on soon to talk about Illuminati stallions and Illuminati dolphins. I keep bringing on guests to try to like enlighten us with information. I just want to put information out there, man. I'm not really trying to get famous from it or make a ton of money. I'd like to have enough money just to be able to pay the bills, but other than that, man, I'm just out here trying to put information out there. So yeah, you guys can find me at theawakenedpodcast.com. Yeah, if you enjoy this show, if you enjoy what we talked about a little bit on the show, I'm going to do a bigger episode on this, where we didn't even get into the underground LA stuff and the underground
Yeah.
tunnels and the underground.
I think you did that on purpose because you wanted for your show, and I like it.
No,
It's all
we didn't
marketing,
even
baby.
talk about it, man. There's a guy
Yeah.
named Warren Schaffelt that has this. He found these underground caves in LA and all this stuff. And then there's the Achterbahn is what they call it. There's this underground highway that famous celebrities can travel, like Seinfeld and stuff like that. And there's all this underground cities in Seattle and LA and all this stuff that people just don't know about. So there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. There's even a lost city, underground city that they found in China. It's so
The
amazing. I
city
mean,
of Amber.
I'm sorry, it's not a city. It's a forest. So they went into the mountain and they found this like whole nother. It's almost like if you imagine Journey to the Center of the Earth. That's what they did.
Ecosystem.
Yeah, there's this whole system of like real trees and animals that they've never seen before and all this stuff. It's really super interesting. So, yeah, I want to get into some of that stuff as well. Hopefully, with the
No, that is not only magical, but it's freaking insane. I wish you would have brought some of that. But it's cool. I take it off because this information is amazing. Thomas from Paranoid American is an amazing person, and which is one of the main reasons why I keep it up with the dumping of episodes, because this mother cracker has my same name. So we have to keep it up. I have to keep it up. He needs to keep it up. So we need so whenever anybody Googles anybody, we're there. We're kicking ass and nobody's bringing anybody down. So Thomas is amazing. I just did another episode with him too. And Donut is a busy mother trucker. And all of these people, you know what? It's funny. I love the way you put that out, because there's many of us that are kicking ass, doing the work, and many of us that are just chilling. And by all means, I encourage every single one. There's never been a time more important and more thirsty than now to drop this information. People want this. We are the mainstream media. You guys think about it as this small. No, if we all come together, we are the mainstream media. And at the end of the day, believe it or not, many of us are spectating. We're not creating. Many of us are just gatekeeping instead of sharing and pulling and uplifting people up. It's very important. It goes back full circle with man's mental health. I want to give shout outs to all of the guys that you mentioned right now. They're amazing guys and amazing people that work. And one of these days, I'm not only going to be respected, but also acknowledged by those guys, because we're coming for the gold, baby. I want to thank you again for being on the show, bro. Humbly, it's always an amazing conversation when you come in. You are a bright mind. I think that you need more recognition. I think that you need more constant drops. I think so much positivity about you. You're one of those dudes in the game that we need to watch out for, because if we sleep on you, it's going to be too late to jump on the train. So make sure you check out the Awakened podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Paranoid Radio Podcast is a hub. it's a conspiracies on training wheels for the people that are coming in and want to get to know others. We're just a hub, but this guy's a freaking specialist. There's a story. I don't know if I ever told the story, but I told you the story about the horse and the duck, and I'll make it real quick. There's a farm. It's a barn, right? And there's a horse, one horse in the entire barn, in the entire farm, and there's many different animals. Now there's a little puddle in the back of the farm, and then you see it's the middle of the summer and it's drying out, so all the animals gonna get the last drink, and then you see this flock of ducks just migrating to it. They land there, they start drinking water. They see the horse is just shitting, eating, grazing, right? Just whatever. One of the leader ducks comes and tells them, "Look at this stupid animal. He's only good for shitting. That's all he does. Look at him. All he does is run. Look at me." He goes, "I could swim. I could fly. I could walk on the earth for periods of times. Look at me. I'm great." The freaking horse turns around and he goes, "Yeah, you could walk for limited time. You could swim for limited time. You could fly for limited time. But I can run fast for very long. I'm a specialist at what I do." And I'm like, damn. So that's what you are. You're one of those horses in the farm.
Oh, man. Stop, dude. Please. Come on, man.
So
that was too much.
I want people to make sure to follow you and look at the description of the show. Check out the movie on Prime, and if you have any of these platforms that I don't support, but hey, if you guys are there, make sure you check them out. And the Awaken Podcast Brats, thank you so much for being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts on Spotify. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace.